Howdy. Got another build showcase here. I think it's a juicy one. So I'm going to explain all of the mechanics and how everything works. And then I'll do a map showcase at the end because it might not make sense without having everything explained first. This one's going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to explain a lot of the mechanics, and then I'm going to show a lot of the different paths that you could branch down to build this. I'm definitely going to be doing this for the next little bit. I'll have D&D on, I always forget. And there's a lot of different ways to play it, and I think there's a lot of different uses for it, but I think the base interaction between the two main skills is really powerful, and I think that you can do a lot of different things around that to make it comfy. Like, for example, the next one I'm going to build is going to be an Aegis Aurora and like a super tanky mapper setup that's comfy and doesn't die to anything. So the short version is we're using, where is it? Here we go, Summon Stone Golem. And we're stacking a bunch of minion life. Like from these jewels here, I have 6 jewels in this replica shroud with minion life on the rings, gem levels. I should have gem levels on these boots, but then like gem levels from these wands over here, +2, +2, and we get a bunch of life on the stone golem, and then we use the new body swap of sacrifice. So if you look at the second line down, it'll target a minion and explode on them, and it'll do a portion of their life as base damage for a skill, kind of like Detonate Dead does with corpses. It does that with your minion life, but there's a lot more avenues to scaling minion life. So right now it's level 16. I couldn't find a leveled one. I think at level 20, level 20, 20 quality, I think it's like 30 something percent. And then we get, obviously these boots are, obvious choice. So at level 21 here, it's 29% of the base damage is life. So what'll happen is the minions will run up to an enemy, and then you'll click the skill, and you'll explode your minion, and then it'll pop on them, and all that damage right here will do an ignite. And then, yeah, using the Elementalist, we resummon them there. So I'm going to go through some of the gear choices really quick. The Replica Stampede, this skill has a lot of interesting tags. It has an AoE tag, it has a travel tag, and it has a minion tag, which means that all of the minion scaling that we do, minion gem level scaling that we do for the stone golem to scale their HP also double dips into scaling the actual percentage of base damage that we're doing here. So these +2s all work. And then the Replica Stampede, you can hit +2 level to minion gems on this as well as AoE gems. So theoretically, you could have a +4 Replica Stampede to get even more gem levels out of this. And then the travel skills deal 80% more damage. That's basically just a free 6 link. It's basically 240% skill gems, which I thought was nice, and it frees up a chest piece. You don't have to run a 6 link, or you can run, something like this where you just get a bunch of % minion max life. And I got some minion move speed because these stone golems are slow. So some of the other choices that I made here, this is just, getting fire exposure on hit, which I think is important. Gem levels, this is pretty obvious. And then just some resistances and minion max life on these two. The Primordial Chain is really good for clear. It makes the build feel actually pretty okay to clear with, because you get more golems, and they're faster, and they aren't super slow. And then I have 2 weapon swap setups. So one of them is these Convoking Wands. This boosts their life up to about 300,000 life, which means we're getting about 100k damage on, like 100k flat base damage on the ignite. And so what that means is, like, imagine if you were doing a Wave of Conviction igniter, which is what I started with. Where is it? Down here? Yeah. So you see where it says 35 to 52 physical damage. If you're unfamiliar with how like base damage and percent increased all interact together, that would be like this skill here saying deals 99,000 to 101,000 base physical damage. That's before any percent increase modifiers, before any ignite modifiers. That's just the flat damage on the skill. The same reason that this build is so powerful is the same reason that Detonate Dead's so powerful, because the base damage of the skill is based off of something's life. The same reason, if you've seen people, it's kind of this build too, this obliteration build, where the enemies explode and that chaos damage is the base damage for a new ignite. With Elementalist, that interaction is the same thing. Instead of using a skill, which caps out at like, I don't know, you can get like 5,000 base damage on skills if you invest in gem level. You're getting, a percentage of a enemy's life, or a corpse's life, or in this case, a minion's life, to get a giant big value there. And then you can scale that with other ignite modifiers and percent increase modifiers and stuff like that. So the only caveat to this is, 1, it's kind of clunky, but 2, where is it on here? Oh no, this is Wave of Conviction. I'm dumb. Get rid of this. Here we go. 50% less damage with ailments. I don't feel that at all on this build. The damage is nutty. Even this is like a super scuffed prototype of the build. I'm going to re-roll this as soon as I'm done with this video to something else. I just wanted to get the base interaction out there and then share all the information that I know so people can play around with it and do what they're going to do. So the tree is, I used a bunch of these primordial mites because the 26% increased damage scales the ignite, and it gives the 19% increased max life, which is a pretty high value. Also, the golems are aggressive is nice because they go into packs and fight, so you can teleport into them, body swap into them, and then get, it's better than having them around you to try to like goad them into fighting stuff because we are very squishy. So +1 golem here. I used to fan the flames and blowback, and then the rest of them are just these life from death and hulking corpses on here, and then a bunch of these primordial mites that I found. Just using a bunch of those everywhere. I need to get one here. Like I said, it's prototype, super scuffed. I just threw this together to test the concept. I think spiritual aid's kind of important to grab because you get a lot of percent increased minion damage just from being around the minion nodes. Like up here, if you want to grab like this one, that's 10% increased damage for you and 10% increased max life. And then, yeah, the tree is pretty self-explanatory. I think when I re-roll it, I'm going to scale less into minion life because the stone golems have a really high base life as it is, and more into it in the ignite, scaling the ignite, because when you scale minion life, you're only scaling the ignites that you do. And if you want to make it a good clear build, you want to scale all the ignites, like the ignites that are sourced from these obliteration wands here. You want to scale these as well with it. So I think I'm going to scale more of the ignite damage and less the minion life when I re-roll this, but I just wanted to see how hard you could push the minion life and still have a decent ignite damage. So that's like the core interaction. I'm going to re-roll this in like, as soon as this video goes up into something like same interaction, but something a little bit, I think, better. But I'll show you the map showcase real quick because it is super clunky like this right now, to be honest. I just tried it on it at Zeri. So let's do a tier 16 atoll map, and I'll show you how it plays. And so I'll say something when I switch from these obliterations to these other ones. And again, my flasks are even kind of scuffed. I don't even have flasks picked for this build yet. So you pop over and it pops, pop over and it pops. I mean, if you've seen one ignite build with obliteration, you've seen them all, right? But that's just the mechanic that we use to make it clear. I'm just gonna go rush the boss actually because this is a pretty standard ignite obliteration build. But see, they go in there, see the little green health bars. I'll try to like slow-mo it for you. So I'll convocate them, and they run over there, and that's when you get down, Mr. President, and you dive over to them, but then they die also. And see these ignites prolif, and everything's fun. So these are the little minions. These are the stone golems, and they're pretty fast because of the primordial chain, but it completely scuffs their health. So for single target, you might want to run something different. And then let's see over here. Oh, this is the boss. Oh yeah, so what I'll do, I'll show this real quick. So if you wanted to make it like a more bossing oriented build, I think it might be viable. This might be able to hit dot cap, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody hits dot cap with this build this league. So what you do is take these off, switch over to the +2 wands to give them more life. So you're down to 3 golems now. And I'll just do 1 ignite and see what happens. Okay, this is a possessed boss. This is perfect. So you pop this, and then that's 1 ignite. And this is a possessed tier 16 map boss. And that's how much damage it did with 1 ignite to a tier 16 possessed map boss. Then you pop again. I died. And yeah. So I'll show a little bit more. The only part that's scuffed about this is if you want to switch between primordial chain, you have to like resummon your golems, which have kind of a long cooldown. So like you pop them back up again, but not the end of the world. I was just trying to test A and B, like A/B test it and see which one felt better. Definitely feels better on clearing with the primordial chain, and it feels a lot faster because the golems are faster, and you get more of them, so you don't have to like you're not waiting for, your golem to respawn all the time. Downtime in this build is scary because it is so squishy, and the way it works too. I didn't go over the skill too much, but it'll target an enemy. So if I target this guy right here, it'll target him and do like a percentage of my own life. As if I don't target a minion, it'll sacrifice part of my own life and use that as the base damage. So if you're not targeting anything, the skill says it'll prioritize minions. So for example, there's a few guys over here. I'm in the pack. I'm not clicking on anything. So I'm just gonna cast, and it's gonna do a minion hit. So it'll automatically target a minion. Oh no, just kidding. It didn't do it that time. Oh yeah, it did. So 4, 3. So if you're just like not cursed on anything, so you have to kind of be careful. I hold down left click when I'm playing this, and just boom, see the minion got targeted right there because I wasn't selecting anything, and it has the top priority to cast on and sacrifice is on a minion. And so one of the things that I'll do if my minions are running around, like see this, oh, there's a yellow mob up there, he died. But is I'll convocate and then pop. So that way the minions are right where I want them. It's a little bit scary because you have to run in and kamikaze to a pack. You can like flame dash, convocate, and then pop, and then everything dies. Convocate, pop, pop. And yeah, that's the build. I think the base interaction is really strong. It reminds me a lot of like a DD build, but you can scale it a little more directly. There's only a few sources of corpse life, but there's a lot of sources of minion life. Like for example, I got the bone barrier from Necro for 20% more max life. It's kind of expensive. I wouldn't get it. I put all my money from my worldly build into this just to see if it works. So I'm gonna like kind of tone it up and see what's cost effective. I just wanted to make sure it worked the first time I did it. But this is the pop for the build. I'll be posting this in the description so you can see everything. But if you look right here, this is the stone golem. We have 302,000 minion max life, and we're taking about a third of that for our ignites. And then, you know, obviously 50% less damage for ignite, so it's effectively like 50k base damage for ignite, which is still insane. Like, you know, your favorite ignite skill probably has like 2 to 5k base damage, and with this we're 10xing the high end of that. So that's why I think it's so powerful. I think it's a really going to be a really interesting build. I'm going to play it. I'm going to upload more videos about this for sure. I'll document my findings because I haven't found anything about this yet, and I will play with it. The next one I'm going to do is like a tanky Aegis build, Aegis Aurora, and see if it feels comfy to map with. And then I'm sure there's a pretty cool bossing setup you could figure out with this somehow. But yeah, that's the build. I'll post this. If anybody plays this and has any success with it or finds anything interesting, please post a comment or message me in game or Discord or whatever and let me know what you're finding, because I think this is a really fun new skill and it's kind of an interesting, I think it's a really interesting mechanic. So have fun. Thanks.